Hello and welcome to Postdoc Chronicles week number 29. So this has been late for this week because I've been busy preparing and finalizing my presentation, my oral presentation for the Kruger conference, which will be next week. Okay, so in fact, I just came from a dinner. Okay, we had a sort of welcome dinner for this famous physicist from CERN. He's also a member of Atlas, and his name is Jon Butterworth. Okay, and in fact, I know this guy because early this year I've been reading his book entitled "Smashing Physics." Okay, and I've heard this. Book from studying Deepak's slides. So Deepak has some slides in experimental physics, and then in some of his introductory slides, he mentioned a guy who has this book, Smashing Physics, which is sort of like a very in-depth inside story from someone who really worked with the guys in CERN. Okay, so it's a very fascinating account of the search and the discovery of CERN back in 2012, and also Deepak's slide mentioned about his what do you call this? His blog called Life and Physics. So it's really a fascinating blog from a particle physicist. But yeah, anyway, the nice thing is he's also staying just in the room beside me. So when I was walking this morning, I saw him, and then I showed him the book in the Kindle because of course the moment I heard that book, I got it for the Kindle, and then he laughed. He said, "Oh, too bad it's on the Kindle. I can't autograph it for you." But then fortunately, on the way to the place when we're gonna have dinner with Deepak, I asked him if I could, take a photo with him, and we did with, one of the buildings of WITS, okay, the University of Witwatersrand, okay, and yeah, so he's one of the plenary speakers for the conference, the Kruger conference next week, among with some other big names in the field of particle physics. Okay, but yeah, basically this week, aside from that's this week I've been preparing for my slides, but this Postdoc Chronicles week number 29 is of course for last week. And last week, like I've mentioned, we saw this paper that could create, a huge exclusion for a lot of our benchmark points. And so what I did most of the time last week was to write a CheckMate code attempting to incorporate that specific paper into CheckMate, because that paper back in 2012, it's from CMS, is not part of the current CheckMate library. Okay, so it's not, if you run CheckMate for 8 TeV, which was the energy for no, I believe it's 7. Okay, when you run CheckMate for 7 TeV, that particular search is not part of the CheckMate package. So I had to write the code for it. So fortunately, we met, Jong and I met even last week, and in order to write that code. But the thing is, we were able to what do you call this, reproduce some of the plots in the CMS paper already, but there's still a hiccup in our code. Okay, but yeah, basically a lot of things that goes into writing the CheckMate code. So some part of it is like you have the CMS paper, and then if you have it, most of the time in CheckMate, they are actually given the actual data from the, I don't know, maybe their notes or something from, for example, Atlas and CMS for a particular paper that they're trying to incorporate in the CheckMate library. Okay, but the thing is, we don't have that luxury for this 2012 paper, and so what I had to do is the existing plots in the CMS paper, I had to, digitize it. In other words, I had to reverse engineer the values for their plot. So they have like a plot there. What were the data that they were trying to plot to use in order to produce this particular plot? Okay, and then after doing that, then we are able to write the CheckMate code by incorporating particular signal regions and so on. And so we were able to make it work for certain benchmark points, but then there's still some benchmark points where explicitly in the CMS paper they said it is excluded, and of course we trust that paper because it's actually based on data. They did the experiment, they say it's excluded, but then our CheckMate code, it's still allowing those benchmark points. So something is clearly wrong. Fortunately, we found the particular bug, so I know what to do moving forward, but I had to, refocus my attention for this week in doing the presentation. Okay, but yeah, I need to later on when we're going to write this into a publishable paper, then I need to make the checkmate code working. But fortunately, I already know what to do moving forward. Okay, but yeah, so basically in this checkmate, I needed to use something known as part of the package known as the analysis manager, where you read the CMS paper, and then in this analysis manager, you tell it what the kinematic cuts are, what are the conditions for the jets that you want to look for, what are the conditions for the photons that you try to isolate, what are the conditions for the, the objects in the calorimeter, in the trap, and whatever. And so once you do that, you write the code introducing all the cuts that you want, and then once it's already working, once it's compiling, then you make it run over your benchmark points, and then it's going to say whether those benchmark points are allowed or excluded, at least by that particular specific search. Okay, and so that's what we did so far. And yeah, also the nice thing about last week is, like I mentioned, the ongoing Black Friday sale from Nintendo. So I was able to obtain digitally two new games, Full Metal Furies and the Hyperlight Drifter. Okay, so I got Full Metal Furies because they're from the makers of Rogue Legacy, and it has a fascinating, background story regarding that indie game, which I'm not gonna expound here. But yeah, and I got those two games aside from the pinball tables that I have. Okay. Also, they currently released this new game known as Warframe, which is basically free for Nintendo Switch, and it's this huge game which is like Destiny, but it came first, and it's free to play, and it's ported by the guys who did Rocket League, Doom, and Wolfenstein 2. So it really runs very well. Okay, so those guys really do some witchcraft, or should I say switchcraft, okay, when porting very high profile games on the Nintendo Switch. Okay, but anyway, speaking of pinball games, so I'd like to take this opportunity to also invite those guys in Technofriends. So basically, we have this group back in the Philippines called Technofriends. It's based on the place where we usually hang out. We hang out in this place called Techno Hub. Okay, we meet up. So these are guys who are like around my age group, who are really into video games, Nintendo games in particular, and really, I'm really so happy that I've made friends with this guy. So we've been doing this meetup since 2014, and until now, even if I'm in South Africa, we still, play some games together online. Okay, and so it's really nice to have. I really always look forward, to this group meetings that we have every Friday, where we just meet, like, I don't know, like 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. onwards, all the way up to like 1 a.m., sometimes even 3 a.m. until the cafes will close. Okay, but yeah, it's really a lot of fun. But anyway, every year we have this tradition of a tournament. Okay, so we make a tournament. Most of the time it revolves around Pokemon, but unfortunately this year the Pokemon that was released, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, is not really very what they call this, it's not so much catered into competitive. So it's made to cater, casual Pokemon gamers, especially those who are enjoying Pokemon Go, to get back into Pokemon, and hopefully those new audience that they grab will be playing the core Pokemon that will come out later this year. Okay, we could have used the 3DS the VGC 2018 format for the tournament, but then I don't know, the VGC 2018 kind of died down. Only a few of us, really followed that format. I'm not even sure how the format looks like anymore. But I'm not going. We're not going in that route. But basically, the tournament that we're gonna do is. I look for a tournament where a game where basically everyone is in equal footing, because a lot of us in Techno Hub, in Techno Friends, excel at different games. So some of us are very good in Super Smash, some of us are very good in Monster Hunter, some of us are very good in Pokemon, and so on. Okay, and so I look for a game where everyone is on equal footing, and a game that everyone can download for free. And so I found Pinball FX3, and of course part of the reason I want to make this a competition because I was just recently so enamored by this game, and I want to pass that addiction to my friends. Okay, but basically, yeah. So here's the rule set for all of you techno friends out there who will be joining the Pinball FX3 2018 tournament. Okay, so first of all, you need your Nintendo Switch. Okay, so that's very important. In order to join this competition, you need to have a Nintendo Switch. Second, you have to download the free game, Pinball FX3 from the eShop. Part of that Pinball FX3 game, it comes with a free table. Okay, so the rest of the tables you do need to buy with real money, but then it comes with a free table known as Sorcerer's Lair, and we're gonna use that table in a classic format for the pinball tournament. So here's how the tournament's going to break down. So first, notice that when you play the classic mode in Sorcerer's Lair table, every time you get a high score, that high score gets recorded in your save data, okay? So 20% of your final score will be based on your personal high score for the Sorcerer's Lair classic mode table, okay? And then on November 30th, okay, or yeah, November 30th, so I believe that's gonna be in like 2 days, I'm going to be opening a tournament which you can access online. So you join that tournament. It's going to be private so that I'm only giving the password to the Techno friends who's going to be joining the competition. So you join that online tournament that I'm going to be opening. It's going to run for around 2 weeks, right? And so when you join that tournament, the highest score that you obtain will be recorded in the leaderboard. Okay, so from that tournament, your highest score for that tournament, you can repeat it unlimited number of times until the tournament expires. So I will close it by December 13. The highest score that you get there will comprise 40% of your final points. Okay, so making that, so from the personal high score 20, from the tournament score 40%, so you have 60% total. The remaining 40% will come from the final hot seat night. Okay, so it's still in classic mode. So basically, if you look at the Pinball FX3, you have this option called hot seat, where depending on the number of players, so same table, you alternate every time someone loses a ball. Okay, and basically your performance there during the final night, which will be on the December 14th, will be your final 40%. And so you add all of those together, will net you a certain amount of points, and then the guy who obtained the highest award will be declared the pinball wizard of Technofriends. Okay, so far a lot of guys that will be joining there already starting amassing for their personal high score. But of course, don't lose hope if someone already has a very high personal high score, because that will only be 20% of the final score total. Okay, but anyway, hopefully you guys will have fun doing that pinball tournament. Okay, and then see you on the final night for the Pinball FX3 Technofriends tournament. Okay, and anyway, guys, I think in the next for the next Postdoc Chronicles, which will be the 30th Postdoc Chronicles, I hopefully I can record it on the first day that I'm gonna be in Kruger. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna record it while going through my presentation, which I think I'm scheduled to present Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so in my Postdoc Chronicles, number 30 will be a me trying to showcase my talk basically for the Kruger conference, and then for the Postdoc Chronicles week number 31, which will be my final Postdoc Chronicles for 2018, because I'm going after the Kruger conference. Basically, I'm going back to the Philippines, and since I'll be on Christmas vacation, I won't be doing any Postdoc Chronicles. So after number 31, I'll resume the Postdoc Chronicles, I think mid-January. Okay, but anyway, see you guys on Postdoc Chronicles week number 30. And this has been Postdoc Chronicles week number 29. Thanks for watching and bye-bye.